Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Every Member Matters. I'm your host, Carolyn Altman. I'm an eligible candidate running for the 2024 National Treasurer position, and I am currently one of your national liaisons covering the Eastern region. Today, I am excited to have Cassandra Odoms from the Women's Council of Realtors DeKalb Network. She is currently the 2022 network president. We will let Cassandra tell us all about her journey, what motivates her, why she chooses to volunteer with Women's Council, the network's growth and membership, and what accomplishment she is most proud of, and what her legacy is. Please put any comments or questions that you may have for Cassandra in the chat, and I'll make sure to get them answered. So, Cassandra, let's start with your journey.
Good morning, everyone. My journey actually started because I'm a veteran. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I served for 34 years, and I'm very proud of that. That journey, when I was getting ready to retire, actually, both me and my husband are realtors. So one of the things we wanted to was to continue to give back, like we did in our careers. Fast forward, we received our license, and giving back is, and I keep using those terms. That's a lot of what we do as realtors. Is that me? So in my journey, I wanted to be a part of an organization that did just that. I wanted to be a part of like-minded women in this industry. Well, number one, where I can grow as an individual, because I was coming from a different career, and I wanted to grow as a realtor. And I was just sitting at my computer one day, and I was just looking at women realtor entrepreneurs. Where to go? I'm just looking this up. And I see this Women's Council of Realtors. I'm like, okay. So I deep dive into it and start reading about the history and doing all this stuff. And I kind of set it to a side. And in my mind, I said, this sounds like what I want to do. I was at a CE class, and this lady that was a part of the network that I'm currently with now had said to me, we were just talking. And I said, well, I'm thinking I'm getting ready to join this group called Women's Council of Realtors. And she said, what area? And I told her, she said, no, you coming over here with me. I get there and I see all these different levels of experience in the room. And I see I'm there at the program. I'm a very observant person. So I'm just watching all of this camaraderie and networking. I'm like, wow, this is what this is really like. So actually that day is when I joined, and I haven't looked back since. I didn't know that I would be where I am today, because I really wanted to be just an active participating member and just growing. I wasn't looking for leadership, any type of roles like that. I just wanted to be a part. And, because I had just, I retired, and I've done all that. So I'm just trying to do something a little different. Next thing I know, and this is a common phrase, I've heard past presidents say, I went to the bathroom, came back, and here I am, PE.
Yes.
It was really kind of ironic how I got into where I am right now, because it's a running thing with she and I. My husband and I were talking, and we were talking about things we wanted to do, and I had told him I wanted to continue, going and working with Women's Council Realtors. And toward the end of that conversation, I received a phone call, and I just bust out and started laughing, because this was the PE at that time, and she was calling me to ask me if I wanted to be, then it was called the secretary, and I was just cracking up. And she was like, "What's so funny?" And I told her that my husband and I were just talking about this, and here you call me. So it was just that. I don't know if that was just how the stars aligned or if it was a blessing, but I consider the blessing a humbling experience, because you never know who's watching you as a leader. You may think you're not prepared for being in a position, but you never know who's watching you in the background. And I had that same philosophy when I was in the military. I always do what's right, because even though you don't know who's looking at you, you don't know who's watching your potential and watching you grow, or seeing something in you that you may not see in yourself. So that's kind of where all of that started, and it morphed into me being the network president. And next year I'll be a DVP for three of our networks.
Oh, that is exciting. I think you're going to be an amazing asset to the Georgia State leadership team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. So, what motivates you?
Just being able to see others grow, um, being able to help where I can. And all of that comes from, and it really kind of stems from my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in that, what we call that village of people. And my grandmother, God rest her soul, she would have me everywhere. So I'm used to that helping others. And that's even my headline in my real estate business, people first, because it is people first in what we do. So the motivating factor for me in all of that is watching the success of others and helping them achieve their success, because it's not about me, and it's about, when we look at it from the network standpoint, it's about the network. It's about bringing that value to the people, with your members and the network. If they see the value in them, you investing that value in them, then they'll invest that into the network.
Yes, I'm a
So,
firm believer in that. It was funny. I was actually in Virginia yesterday,
mhm,
and they asked me to talk about my leadership, and I was laughing. I was like, well, it started being a mom, right? I mean,
mhm,
we were a team, and I think that really helped me when I got into leadership, because I made sure that I had my teams in place. And you got to touch all your team members, which means if we touch every single one of our members, they feel valued and they
yes,
feel comfortable with the fact that not that we are trying to, um, I don't know, um, be better than anyone else. No, we actually want to take them and help them grow with us. And I
yes.
think when we include them, you see a huge change in the network. You see a huge change in how things are done. And because everybody wants to feel loved and wanted, right?
That's correct.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I'm,
my
go
go
ahead.
ahead. My vision for this year was, and still is, inclusive, not exclusive, because I want everyone to feel, whether they've been with us from the beginning or they're just coming in, to feel like they are part of something positive, something forward moving. You have. I'm passionate about newer real estate agents, because, of course, I was in those shoes. And now that I have an understanding of, there is other avenues for you to build that foundation for you, meaning Women's Council Realtors, I encourage them to start there, because they
Mm,
will help you with what you don't know.
right.
So a lot of newer agents are timid when it comes to being a part of organizations like this because they think it's more for the more experienced agents. This is something that you get to when you hit a certain level, and that's not the case. And there's some that we recently received about 4 or 5 members that were under 2 years because now they understand the big picture. So that was exciting for me because I would like to see more newer agents get involved in Women's Council Realtors because that will help them in their personal and professional growth.
Correct. And when they realize it's a safe place for them to
Yes.
ask questions and for them to grow, I think it does matter. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you talked a little bit about it in the very beginning, but why did you choose to volunteer with Women's Council?
I like what they stand for. I like the mission statement. I love the network. I love when I say network, I'm talking about as a whole. The relationships that I have built in the time that I've been there. It's just so much that I call Women's Council Realtors my second family because the majority of my friends are in Women's Council Realtors. So being able to be with them, whether it's through Zoom or whether it's in person, I like what we represent to the public. Because when you say
Correct.
Women's Council Realtors, people have never heard of it. So now you go through all the chit chat, and it's a different level of volunteering. It's a different level of service. Not just from being in a leadership role, because like I've told my board members, regardless of whether you're on the board or not, you're still a member. And you have to think that way as well. So even as a member, you're still volunteering. So you're giving of your time, you're giving of you're giving of that service. You pouring back into the organization what someone poured into you.
Correct. Yes. I am a firm believer in that. And it really does matter that they understand that. And remember the feeling you said you had when you walked into that room the very first time. There's so many of us that felt that. I joined the first time I ever went to a Women's Council meeting myself because of the fact that I actually felt loved and appreciated. And I didn't feel that when I was outside of that door. It's amazing how we do indeed become family and how quickly it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, right?
That that's one of the biggest things that you describe, because that happens fast. The connections that you make nationwide are unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
So it's funny. I every now and then something happens and it's like, I wonder if I know somebody in this area. My daughter is living right outside of Texas right now. And I actually had several people reach out and said, if your daughter ever needs anything, just reach out. Even if she gets that phone call and she's in jail, it's okay because we got her back. And I was like, well, I hope that never happens. But it was so nice for them to say that and to know that she actually had a flat tire earlier this year, and it was a Women's Council member that came out and helped her. The family is so much more than I think people understand. I mean, it's the best family because we get to pick them, right? I mean,
that's correct.
Right?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to tell you, what have you gotten from your volunteering experience with Women's Council?
it's allowed me to see our industry from a different perspective. Um, this is a place where we compete in our industry every day with what we do, and this is the one place where I don't have to do that. I can just come in and be Cassandra, and at the same time, when I need someone, I know I have someone I can go to. Not just in the personal arena, but in the professional arena. And I can relax and say, okay, I don't have to be so rigid, so timid. I can go to this person and say, okay, um, I need some advice on something, and they willingly give it to you. That doesn't always happen outside of that. And just being able to be the true, authentic me, and that for any organization, that doesn't always happen, but it can
Right.
happen right here in Women's Council Realtors. I have plenty of mentors. They don't know, they may not know that they are, but they are.
Right. Yeah, because some
And
people don't know. I've told some people sometimes you don't realize how a smile can change someone's life
yes,
day. And what you just did for that person, I'm a firm believer in that. I'll even like when we go to the hotels and we're at all these conferences, I'm going
hmm,
to tell you, not just our members. I make sure that the staff, whoever that person is that I see doing something, I stop and I
yes,
go, I just want to say thank you. And I hope you have an amazing day. And I'm going to tell you what, you watch the skip in their step. I mean, now
that's
they're even
true.
more proud to do their job because,
Yes,
again, well, it goes back to that appreciation, right?
that is correct.
People want to be appreciated. They don't mind the hard work, but it's nice to just say you
Thank
matter.
you. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
what do you
because
believe is your greatest strength?
ooh-wee.
Right? You have so many.
Ah, I would say having a diverse leadership style. That is, I think that's one of my greatest strengths. And I say that because there's never no one way to do things. It may be, and this goes back to my military career. The the basics may be the same, but the organization is not the same. So I
Mhm.
had to learn how to tailor my leadership style based on where I was going. It may be the same type of installation, same name. Oh goodness, he did it to me again.
We
He did
knew.
it too. Oh, let me read him.
He wants to be part of he wants to be part of the program too. We knew it could happen. Our children.
Oh, I apologize. I was so hoping he wouldn't do that. He was laying down under his blanket, just as quiet. I'm like, oh goodness. But having that type of leadership style has allowed me to be able to adjust going into what we call the civilian world, and still be able to be the leader that I need to be, um, because of my foundation over here. So when I think of strengths, that would be, I guess, my greatest one, because not there are some that don't have that ability. It's there's no black and white. I mean, it's just straight down the middle. And
Right.
understanding that everyone is not the same. You're going to have different personalities. So you got to be able to recognize that, and that's how, for me, you're able to build the team that you need to build. When you have a leadership style that can fit into that type of organization or that team, and that is one of the reasons why I have the team I have today. I love them to death. They know it.
Well, and it's nice to be, it's sometimes, it's not that we're right or wrong. Maybe it's not the right time, but I think every member should bring their opinions and their thoughts, because
Yes.
there's something that we didn't think about, right? And
Okay. We
that's
can't
another
do it
reason
all.
to have everyone at the table, because I might see it one way, you see it another way, but there's a way for us to make it happen
Mm-hmm.
where we can accomplish the task for everyone, right?
Yes. Everyone has a voice. And
Right.
that to me is important when you're working with a team. Even the one, and as a leader, you need to be able to recognize those that may be sitting back, and they're on the team. They may be sitting back in the corner. So that's the one you call on to say, okay, tell me what you think about this.
Mm-hmm.
You need to allow them to be able to have that voice, and not
Right.
just on the team, but in the networking itself. When they if they
Mm-hmm.
feel like the only people making decisions or having network discussions is the leadership, then that decreases their value in the organization. So it's important for not just us to have the team to have a voice, but the organization as a whole.
Right. So, what do you think your biggest factor is that has helped you and your team be so successful with your growth and membership? Because I was telling you before we started this, it seemed like every time I turned around, you had a brand new member yesterday. And I was like, wow, look at you guys go.
Yes.
So I know that means that you got a great team in place, but what do you think has made that difference? I know what I think, but I want to hear it from you.
It started from the very, very beginning, at our orientation. When I met these ladies, most of them I had met for the first time, but when you saw us, you would think you have known us. We've known each other for years, and we started our bonding then. I knew from that moment that I was going to have a great team. I just knew it just by the collaboration that we were having at orientation, and that's what really for me set the tone for where we were going to go. Even at our retreat, it was a constant building process. Everybody's personalities just kind of blended and meshed, and I it has not gotten any better. I can say I have had the most wonderful, wonderful year. And for our team, communication is key. For we communicate constantly, and how we communicate. It's one thing to say what you want to do, but it's how you put it out there. So everyone on the team knows that it goes back to that voice, that their opinion matters. So instead of me saying, this is what I want to know what we want, because we're
Mm-hmm.
doing this together. So we always come together. There is no big I and little me. That does not
Right.
exist. And as long as, and that's been that way since day one. And we just kind of carry that forward throughout the year.
Do you know about how many members you have right now?
We actually have 77.
Oh my goodness, we are so close to a mega network. I think you're
There
going to
you
make
go. we we were talking about that in our board meeting this morning, and everyone is excited. As a matter of fact, we may hit 80 before the end of the day.
Hey, there you go.
So you
Outstanding,
will see me again
right?
if that happens.
So, what accomplishment are you most proud of?
For the network,
Network
our
or personal? Both.
we had one of my biggest things I wanted to do this year was have a past presidents for DeKalb past presidents legacy brunch, and that went just it was just beautiful. It was very touching, very heartwarming because I wanted to recognize those and celebrate those that paved the way for us to be where we are as
Mm-hmm.
leaders in our network. So there was we had our two past national presidents, Joe Kenney and Deborah Gilmore were there. And there was some other, I think, state representation there. And we had all of our past network presidents and our board, our lead. I call my committee members part of the leadership team. That goes back to that being included. We all got up and I wanted them to tell their story
Mm-hmm.
of their journey. And it was just everyone's story was different. And it was just you could feel where they were in their heart with it. And that for me was very, very warm. That was very fitting for the occasion because I wanted those leaders to know where they have led us through our journey and that when they left, that their legacy continued.
Right. Well, it's pretty impressive to your little soon to be mega, maybe by the end of the day. Network has
Oh,
two,
you will know.
right? I will definitely know.
Yes. Yeah, you would definitely see it all over social media.
Right. So having two past national presidents, that's an honor all in itself, right? I mean,
Oh
and
my
to know
God.
that they're still there to support you guys, I mean,
Yes.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. It
So
was the most. Oh
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, it was really. Um, it put me in tears to see that and to see all of them there and everybody going by their years as to when they would. It was. You'd have to see it to see what I was to understand what I was talking about. It was very heartwarming.
Hmm. So what accomplishment are you most proud of personally? Because I felt like you had something to give there as well.
Um, I really don't think about my accomplishments in the sense like that. What I think about is knowing that I've done the right thing and what I was supposed to do.
Hmm.
So when it comes to Women's Council, I was doing I'm doing what I know to do. And if
Hmm.
that leads to success in our network, then that is my accomplishment. I,
Right.
I'm very humble in what I do because you don't take these positions for granted because it's a lot that goes with it, but you can't go into it with I have this title because
Hmm.
it's not about the title. It's about what you do with that title.
Right.
And I I think I have served my purpose for this year in helping to continue to build on our network because we went from a small network in December last year to almost mega. That
Right.
accomplishment. That is
That is
that's way
huge.
over.
And you
Yes,
know
that's
what?
huge.
You're going to be able to take that accomplishment, if we want to call it that, and you're going to be able to utilize that information, those feelings, to other networks that you're going to be DVPing next year. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm going to be watching Georgia because I got a feeling we're going to be hearing more about Georgia, right?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, it's my board right now. I have out of my whole team, I have 98% of them that received their PMN this year. So
Wow.
most of us, it just with the exception of one. Yeah.
Right.
And it's an awesome feeling. You know, there's other, but I'm not a person like to brag about myself. So I have to think about stuff like that.
I agree. It's really hard. I'm in the same boat. So I'm gonna have to tell you, you are one impressive lady, and I know that you must be so proud of everything you and your team have accomplished this year. It has been an absolute honor interviewing you this morning. Do you
Thank
have
you,
any
Karen.
parting words for all your fans out there? Because I heard you got fans, girlfriend. You definitely have fans out there.
Oh God. um, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today. Um, you know, this was I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a humbling feeling, and it's an honor to be able to do this. I have up to this point enjoyed my leadership journey, and for those of you that are thinking of leadership and are in leadership, um, I always remember always bring one with you.
Mm-hmm.
Set the tone so others will want to not necessarily emulate everything that you do, but they want to be a part of what you do.
Right.
And your leadership your leadership style will determine that, because that's what we're about in Women's Council Realtors. We are about building women as business leaders, and that's what we should be doing. So with that, Miss Carolyn, I thank you so much for this time to talk to every member matters, because every member does matter.
Well, I thank you. And we both thank all of you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing hopefully most of you on Orlando next week. Will I see you, Cassandra?
Oh yes, I'll be there.
All right. Well, I'm actually getting on a flight first thing in the morning. So I will see you sometime next week, and I'll get
Okay.
my hug in person. And we're gonna say goodbye to everybody. And congratulations on everything that you and your team have accomplished. So proud.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.